Choose your character.
All right. Welcome back to the Geekset podcast, only podcast that blend hip-hop culture and geek culture together. I'm your boy Deuces, and this is 1-on-1 with Deuces, the place where I speak with creators, curators, and people that you should know. And right now, we have another multi-hyphenated person. We have a lyricist. We have an actor. We have a writer, and just an overall dope person. But we have the one and only Miriam A. Hyman, a.k.a. Robyn Hood. How are you doing today?
What's good? How are you?
Doing great. So, before we start, my platform is all about giving people their flowers while they're here and letting them know how much they mean to the culture. And I just wanted to let you know, from the first time that I got introduced to you, and I actually had to backtrack to see more because it was the shy for me. And obviously, you had a long, illustrious career beforehand, and still going. But that first iteration of just kind of seeing you on screen, and then with the shy and the themes that they cover, and your role, Dre's character in that show. And then when you popped up on Force, and then just getting tapped into your music and everything, and kind of seeing more like interviews with you, I want to let you know, like, from the culture, from hip hop, from Black culture, thank you for everything that you're putting out in this world and that you're doing in entertainment, because we truly, truly appreciate it. And I want to let you know it does not go unnoticed.
I appreciate you. Thank you very much. That's
No
very
doubt.
kind.
Oh, absolutely. So, I'm gonna jump around because I know I sent the interview to your people, but I do want to jump around because one of the first things that kind of like where I got introduced to your music, and this is always, I was like, if I ever meet her, I want to ask her this. Was I was a big late night show watcher. I was watching late night shows and everything like that because I love entertainment and I kind of love getting deep dives into it.
Sure.
Lupita was rapping and she just kept on shouting you out. And of course, I'm like, all right, well, let me see more. I'm like, Lupita be rapping? And then I started seeing more videos of her and she just kept on shouting you out. And I was like, what is this connection? So I kind of want to get that story. What is the Lupita Robyn Hood connection?
Lupita and I attended Yale School of Drama together. We were in the same class.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we go back, and basically when she started, booking some films, she wanted to do something that was creative, something that would make her, I think, stand out and seem even more interesting, excuse me, than she already was.
Right.
And she had, reached out to me and said, "Hey, can you pen me some bars?" She knew Robyn Hood was basically being created and just kind of coming out and everything. And so I said, "Hey, you're my homie, you're my girl, no problem. I'm gonna look out for you." And wrote her some bars, and then that just continued. Like every time she had a new project coming out, she would reach out, and be like, "Hey, can you pen me some bars?" And so that's really, where that came from. But yeah, we were in graduate school together at the same time.
Oh man, that is so dope. And even with, like, say, even with you going to the Yale School of Drama and like being selected, I know that, like, for a person who comes from, where we come from,
Yeah.
they often try to pigeonhole us and make it seem like, there's not places, the places that are like that are not fit for us. But then when you hear stories like your story, or, like I said, Lupita, and I've been blessed enough to talk to a lot of actors,
Yes.
and so they're telling me things about how there is in Juilliard and things like that. And
Yeah.
for you, when you became the recipient of those awards and being able to go to that Yale School of Drama, what was going through a young, Miriam's head?
I feel truly, truly blessed with my education, and it's an honor to, be accepted into a program of that status. And really not even so much because it's like, oh, it's Yale, but there are a lot of people who are auditioning for these programs every single year, and they pick very, very few.
Yeah.
And I like to, think that they pick those individuals who are going to be very hardworking, who are going to represent, the university, represent that particular school. You're branded, in such a way. And so I did the work that it took to get into the program. When it came to graduate schools, I only applied to Yale. I didn't, like, a lot of people apply to like multiple schools, and I put all of my eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
you know, like you said, I grew up in West Philadelphia. I came from the inner city, came from the hood, and I just felt like, look, I have nothing to lose. I
Yeah.
have everything to gain. So put all of those eggs in one basket, and I basically, you know, once when I applied, you know, this is so funny. When I applied for Yale, you have to have like a little password in order to, you know, send in your application.
Right.
My application, true story, my password was going.
Hey,
Your girl was focused,
it's
okay?
focus.
My password was going, and I truly manifested it. So
Hmm.
I did everything that I needed to do. You know, they said like when you had to audition, they wanted you to have two contrasting monologues, maybe a third on deck. Baby, I came with 10.
Yeah,
Okay.
I heard that story. I was like, yo, and it's a testament to even with everything that you do, because like even with you starting Truth Teller Productions, and even
Yeah.
with you just even your approach to acting and everything, you are always a person, at least what I got from your interviews and things that I did with my research, is that you are a person that one overly prepares, but you try to like also be in that moment of like, all right, everything, you know, you got to think of everything. So when I heard that, I was like, of course she's going to come with multiple monologues, because you know, like it fits your personality so much, and it was like
Yeah.
it stands a testament to your dedication to each realm of whatever you're doing. It's like when you're in it, oh, you're in it.
Oh, I'm in. I'm in. I'm in. I'm in like the Flins. Shout out the Powerbook for a force.
Right.
Okay. But yeah, I really, really wanted it. And, you know, in my statement of purpose, it was like Yale or bust. Like, I wanted to go to the institution that I thought was going to be the very best,
Mm-hmm.
the one that was going to help me get very specific with my work and the type of work that I wanted to do. You mentioned The Shy, you mentioned Powerbook for Force, two totally different characters.
Yes.
So it's a testament to just how I feel about versatility.
Yeah.
I feel like the best actors are the most those people that are really transformative, the ones that can kind of, you know, step out of themselves a little bit but come into a totally different like energy and really truly make people believe that they are this person, you know. And
Yeah.
so for me it's I play for a living, you know, I'm making pretend playing, you know,
Yeah.
but at the same time it's like I believe who I am when I am in those shoes.
Oh,
So
and from the audience, like I said, we believe it. And again, it's really dope
awesome.
because you know when we see the roles that you choose, right?
Mhm.
It's not like it is showing your versatility. I mean, from theater, you know, so you're doing theater productions, you're doing
Yeah.
Robin Hood, but then you know you show up in a show and you're a medical examiner, or you show then you know, or like you say, you show up in a show and then you are a pastor or you're a social worker, and it's just like, whoa, the range. And it's funny
Yeah.
because depending on when somebody got introduced to you, when they deep dive into your career, it's just shock after shock. Like, whoa. To me, I love those layers, and I do love it when it's us. I'm like, I'm
Look, I'm about to add you to my team. I feel like you can pitch the hell out of me.
hey,
This is great.
I love doing this. I love doing this, and you know,
Yeah.
so and then you know, for me, like I said, this is the Geekset podcast, so we are blurs, nerds, and geeks. You know, trying to show
Yeah.
that not everybody's Steve Urkel. You know, what I'm saying there's a lot of cool people like us in it into this world.
Absolutely.
But then seeing that also, like you had a dope as voice acting run. Like I
Yeah.
mean,
Still going.
Horizon, that game is phenomenal. Walking Dead, also Steven Universe, which my kids love Steven Universe.
Yeah.
Just mad bangers. One, I want to know, like, are you doing more voice acting roles? Because you definitely should.
Absolutely, absolutely. I have a big video game that'll be coming out. I can't, you know, say the name of it or anything, but I love doing video games. In fact, like I have a pretty much like an arcade room like in my house.
Nice.
So I have like the old school, I have Mortal Kombat, I have NBA Jam, I have Pac-Man, you know,
Mhm.
like I have a PlayStation, of course. I
Yeah.
have a, you know, Nintendo Switch. And I didn't even get a PlayStation until I started doing all of these different video games.
Okay.
So when I saw that, you know, Steven Universe, when I saw that The
Mhm.
Walking Dead, like all these video games were coming out on these particular like devices, I was like, oh, I got to get a PlayStation.
Yeah.
And so when I got my my PlayStation, Horizon came with it.
Oh,
I was like, this is amazing,
yeah,
like it was like that. I mean, I had to pay for the PlayStation, but it was just sort of like that 2-for-1, like it was like, wow, this is such a gift.
yeah.
And that process, let me tell you, was amazing. I mean, I had all the get up on
Hmm.
when I was in the studio, like I'm moving around and the character on the screen, you're becoming that. It's like you're one. And it was really enriching. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I love working on animation. It's just really, you get to just, again, you get to play, and it's lovely to be an adult and getting paid to do what you love,
Hmm.
and to getting paid to play, you
Yeah.
know. And you take it very serious. It's not like something like, oh, we don't take it, serious. It's a very focused profession,
Hmm.
and I absolutely love doing that. So yes, there is definitely more coming to add to that resume. Oh, you better
Can't
believe it.
wait. Because the one thing that I love about voice acting and when we
Yeah,
get characters like the characters that you portray is that, in this world of, blurs and, just pop culture, when it gets time to like representation, like, we don't have, well, we didn't have a lot of us. I like how we looked into these games, right?
sure.
Especially in the fantastical environment. So when you get a game like Horizon and then you get a character like yours, and I often relay it back to, because I go to a lot of these conventions to either
Of
cover it
course.
and stuff, you start seeing cosplays and you start seeing people choosing characters where they're like, okay, I'm gonna do a black version of this character. But then you have that pocket of people who's like, I'm only exclusively choosing these black characters so I can do
Yeah,
that. And
yeah.
you give us a new character for people to cosplay because it's like,
Oh, that's
and so
dope.
I'm telling you, con season is coming up. I guarantee you, with how big that Horizon game was and everything, I guarantee you're going to start seeing yourself tagged and people cosplaying your character. Like
Ah!
I'm putting it out in the air because
Okay,
once
from your lips to God's ears. I look forward to it.
no, absolutely, absolutely. So I did want to talk a little bit about Force because,
Okay, awesome.
well, yeah, because one, like I said, well, I guess we got to call you mayor candidate now, or like
You see my button? Can you see my button? Let's go, Stacy Marks all day.
Stacey
Let's
Marks,
go.
a character who it's clear where like she has drive and it's clear that she
Yes.
wants to win, but now due to her environment and things that's happening, she gotta play a little bit, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Getting into that character, well, one, jumping into that already universe and getting into that character, what was your preparation there?
Okay, so first of all, I've always wanted to play an attorney.
Oh,
That
okay.
has been like on my list. So when I had my audition, I had like maybe 10 pages of sides that I had to prepare. And I'm a very prepared like actress. So when it comes time to do a play or when it time, comes time for me to walk on set, I'm completely like off book.
Right.
So when I had to do this audition, I was ready, okay? Like sides on deck, ready to go. And basically when I auditioned for the part initially, it was for a guest star.
Mm-hmm.
So if you remember at the end of season 1, I come in and I come in as the assistant
Yes.
US attorney.
Yes.
And I'm only in one scene. It's at the very, very end. And those 10 pages of sides that I had memorized and like ready to go, when I booked the part, I had 3 lines in the whole episode,
Oh.
like in that
Mhm.
final scene. I'm like, this is all y'all want me to do? But I was so tremendously grateful for the opportunity that I said I'm gonna put my all into these 3 lines.
Yeah.
It was a really great experience. And then soon after, I had like as soon as after I shot it and everything, I found out they were coming back for season 2 and that I was going to be offered a series regular role. And that was like, whoa, because that was my first series regular
Yeah.
like opportunity. And then I found out that I was going to be bumped from the assistant US attorney to the US attorney.
Oh.
So I was excited because in the audition I had a lot of the sides were focused on me being in the courtroom. So I
Mhm.
thought I had that more of that was going to happen, but it seems to have taken a turn, within the actual show. So you haven't seen me in the courtroom,
Right.
not yet anyway. So it's been primarily me being in the US attorney's office, and even that's a great honor because the president elects the US attorney.
Right.
So that was just really cool. Me thinking about like, wow, what does that take for a black woman who is from Chicago. Now
Chicago.
I'm from Philadelphia, like I said, but I can equate
Mm-hmm.
like what that's like, me growing up in Philly and being selected to go to Yale out of thousands of kids to be one of 15.
Yeah.
And then here you are in Chicago, out of all of these public defenders, you're the one who's selected to become the U.S. attorney.
Yeah.
And so it was just like, whoa, this is amazing. Like, I'm really gonna take this extremely seriously, find out like, what do U.S. attorneys do? How much money do they make a year? What is that process like? And
Yeah.
so it was, to find out that I was gonna be like chasing after Tommy.
Yeah.
It was just like, wow, okay, now I have to process that, because he is a loved character. I mean, my mom is like, leave Tommy alone. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm trying to protect, the city. And these people are rooting for Tommy. But I can understand why he's a love character. Joseph Sikora, he does his role very, very well. And I initially, kind of fell in love with his character too, from watching the initial like Power
Yeah.
and everything. So I was like, okay, he's really cool. He's down to earth. I can see why so many people are like, like love his character and love his energy and everything. So
Yeah.
for myself, for Stacey Marks, I just, I'm very playful myself. Like, I'm a joker. I'm constantly, making jokes, and I just believe in having a good time. But I knew that when it came to Stacey, there was going to have to be a level of seriousness, a level of focus, a level of drive, a level of determination. So I took a lot of Miriam and I put her, into Stacey, but I just had to craft her in such a way that these people understood, like, look, this woman means business.
Mm-hmm.
She's here to do her job. She wants to be effective. She wants to be heard, respected, really listened to, because it's so easy to just kind of disregard our people, Black women in
Yeah.
particular. They're like at the bottom of the totem pole. And so she's climbing that ladder and basically letting everybody know that surrounds her, like, listen, I'm here, I mean business, and I'm doing my very, very best in order to clean up this city.
Yeah.
Stacey gets a lot of slack because people are like, oh, she's just coming after Tommy. I'm like, bro, he's a drug dealer.
Right.
He's
Like,
selling
he's
drugs.
one of the worst that's out there. I get it. We love
mean,
him.
he's a murderer. Like, what are we talking about? But yet people are rooting for Tommy. And and I get all of the, it's like, okay, but it's okay, because I understand what that's like. And so really it just fuels me, and I put that fuel right into Stacey Marks,
Yeah.
so her tank is never on E,
Right.
because she's fueled by me. Okay, bars, come on.
Bars.
Stop
Let's go. But the great thing about the Power universe is it's always like who's chasing the beloved star. Like, you take any iteration of Power, it's always somebody within law enforcement or government that's chasing that main person, right? And so like that first interaction that you had with Tommy, to me, really set the stage of like, no, we need this cat and mouse chase, because
you need that dynamic. Absolutely.
Yeah, because he was like, yeah, hey, allegedly, you gotta throw that. He was like, I ain't gotta say shit, because that's fact. And I was like, oh, like the way that y'all was playing off each other, I said, oh, I'm here for all of this. Like,
yeah, and that was really fun. I mean, I love being on set with other actors that really just know how to keep the ball in the air. It's really like a tennis match.
Yeah.
And that scene was so fun, because I'm like, okay, not only was I acting with him for the first time, like Miriam, I'm going up against like this heavyweight, but also, like you said, this is Stacey going up against Tommy, and he is this, love character and everything. And she knows, like, it doesn't even matter. Like, I'm going to stand my ground with this guy. If you remember in the scene, I'm like, I go and I post up on his car.
Yeah, you on his whip.
I'm looking like this little Mustang. Boy, I just pulled up in an SUV and I'm in the back seat and somebody's driving me. What? So she has to have that, just sort of boldness about her, and to show him, I'm not intimidated by you.
Right.
Okay. I understand that you are who you are, but guess what? I'm who I am. And the same way that you feel like you have a job to do, I know that I have a job to do, because I've been appointed by the president. And in my mind, that president is like Obama. But, so, I have a responsibility to myself. I have a responsibility to my community.
Yeah.
And so with that said, sir, this is what needs, to happen. And then also, one of my officers had recently been murdered, and he was
Yes.
responsible for
Yeah.
that. So of course, I'm coming with Vargas. I'm coming with that energy as well. So it was great. I had a blast shooting that scene with him. There's definitely more.
Yeah.
You know
Well, I
that
mean,
you're
now
putting
you got
on
some hiccups.
TV.
You got some hiccups on the campaign trail that you're gonna have to deal with.
About that. But even with that, she didn't say, "Hey, I want to run for mayor." She
True.
was selected.
True.
And she was selected because of all of the great work that she's been doing thus far.
Hmm.
So even with that, it was like, whoa, in the scene, it was like, this is amazing. Like when I found out, like, as Miriam, like, oh, okay, this is what's going to happen. She's going to be running for mayor. Like, oh wow, she's going to be a candidate and like a front runner to begin with. So I thought that was really cool, and I just tried to embrace it all as much as possible. And in episode 303, when I'm speaking to like all the journalists and everything, I mean, I really felt like I was running for mayor. Like I was like, this is I can do this. Politics, let's get it. So that's why I'm still wearing my button.
Hey
Come
man,
on,
listen. Why not? Why? Listen, I'm listen. I'm a voice actor myself, and I'm trying more my hands and more in acting and everything like that.
good,
I'm
good.
definitely going to be that person that like, hey, I'm taking props. Like, oh no, this let me have that right there.
Okay, you can't see it right now, but I have a poster that says "Vote Stacey Marks." Like, oh yeah,
As you
you're lucky I didn't have it like behind me, just like posted up in the back. I didn't want to do too much, but I said I'm wearing my button.
But you told a dope story on your Instagram about a full circle moment that you used to do promo for 50 Cent. And I wanted to ask about that. Like, at what time was you doing the promo for 50? And then that first initial meeting again with 50? Like, how was that?
Wow, that was crazy. So yeah, when I was in college, I used to do promo for, like, I was a part of a street team,
Mm-hmm.
and we used to do promo for a lot of different record labels, which is so crazy that I now have my own like music label.
Full circle.
Um, right, because I wasn't thinking about it then. Of course, I was just trying to make some money, okay? But basically, yeah, he was one of the artists that I would do, promo for. So I'm one of those kids. I'm out there with posters and give it out, vinyl to the DJs and stuff of that nature. And wasn't even old enough to be in the clubs, but it was just kind of like, hey, this I can make a couple of dollars. I'm in college. I need to be able to feed myself.
Right.
And so it was just it was one of my side hustles, okay? Because I had like 8.
Hey,
Um,
as we do.
I'm half Jamaican. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I had like 8 hustles, and that was one of them. And I thoroughly enjoyed it because I'm a dancer first and foremost. So I used to teach, hip hop classes. I had a hip hop company called Center of the Cipher, and it was a lot of local dancers in Philadelphia. So it was my opportunity to just be in the clubs. We're dancing, we're promoting. It was all of that, that was going on. So fast forward, when I actually booked Force, I'm like, this is wild that 50 is one of the executive producers. Like, how does that happen? And so in season 3, one of my first days on set, I found out that he wanted to come and watch me work. So I was just like, whoa, like that's really dope, because you don't always have the execs that are present or that want to be present.
Right.
So I got a chance to officially meet him because I've been in the room with him before. He
Right.
just didn't know I was in the room, but I was like, hey, Fip, from a distance. And many men, I'm knowing all the lyrics and everything. But that was really cool because he was just very open, very warm, had really lovely things to say. And I told him about my story that I used to promote for him, and he's the one that said, full circle. In his 50s, he's like, yeah, full circle, in his voice. And it was really sweet. It was a nice sort of tender moment, and I was just really grateful because this business it can just be really tricky, and you just have to, your faith has to be strong. You have to just trust, and believe on God that these opportunities are going to come your way. And when they do, it's time for you to just, stand up and show everything that you have. You have to show up and show out.
Yeah.
So I hope that, he's been pleased with my performance thus far.
I feel like what we know about 50 and how he handles online.
Yeah.
I feel like you're good because we didn't seen 50 when he's not like, all right, you ain't doing as well.
Right. And I'm like, don't BMF me, like, do me right,
Right.
do me right. But yeah, it was just a really great opportunity to be alongside of him, and for him to offer me, just really lovely words of like wisdom. And I just, I took it and I received it, and I was like, wow, it's go time. I'm really gonna make sure that I'm showing up and showing out even more.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was pretty much it.
No, man, that's dope. And I know being a hip hop head again, you're a hip hop
Yes,
head and being around like that's got to be crazy and everything.
absolutely.
And so I do want to get into like with your music because
Let's get into it.
so what I love about your production company, your label, is that when I listen to like I was listening to that Family Over Everything album,
Yeah.
and it's such a complete album, because
Thank you.
from front to back, Air Jordan, which is your cousin, going
Yes.
like I'll rock with him tough. But the first thing that like really attracted me to that album, and even just listening to the songs, was that I was like, this reminds me kind of like early TDE, where it was like the production value is current, but the lyrics does not lack. Like, oftentimes you get that area where people is like, oh, I'm just heavy on the production. I can dumb down my lyrics. And it don't sound like you guys are dumbing down your lyrics at all. Like
Thank you.
that
Thank you.
lyricism first, and that the music makes it, where it's like, if you only listen to beats, you can vibe out to this. If you
Yeah.
listen to the lyrics, you be like, oh shit, they going crazy. Was that
Thank you.
the motto? I guess was that like the vision when you was putting together this production house?
I mean, first of all, with the label itself, it's called Truth Teller Productions, and that is very purposeful. We want to speak truth. We want to tell our truth. We want to be what I like to say is hot with people. That's my little acronym: honest, open, and truthful. HOT. And so I say to myself, all the lyricists, that are under our company, all of the producers, like, listen, again, like with those beats, me being a dancer first, if I can't move to the beat, it's going to be challenging for me to write to it. So honestly, I have to physically respond to that in an honest way. And then in terms of the lyrics, we got to come,
Yes.
front. You know what I mean? Like, come, like, speak your truth here. Like, what are we talking about? What's the song? What's the focus within the song? So that first song that's on that particular album
Yes.
is Faith Without Works, FWW, and it's Faith
Yeah.
Without Works Dead. So that's something that I grew up with, that scripture, just understanding that it's not about you just wanting to do something. It's about you, again, trusting on God, but you have to put that work into it as well. So I'm even reminding myself right now, as I'm speaking this to you. So for Jordan, first of all, hands down, I think that he is a really talented lyricist. Like,
Absolutely.
actually one of my favorites, and he just sent me some stuff the other day, and I'm just like, Jordan is so dope. Like, his metaphors and analogies, like the way that he just breaks things down. And he's from Chicago, actually.
Okay.
And so when I started working on The Shy, like, we're cousins, but we didn't necessarily both grow up in the same area. So I grew up in Philadelphia, he was in Chicago. And so when I started working on The Shy, we just kind of like reconnected in a major way, and we were constantly in the studio. So pretty much wherever I'm working, I have like a studio home in that particular, city or, state or whatever. And so it was for that particular album, it was introducing him. So he's on pretty much every song,
Yeah.
with the exception, I want to say, of like one or two. And he's also a producer. So a lot of those songs, he produced those songs as well.
Oh.
So I believe in being multifaceted,
Yep.
and definitely just, again, going back to versatility, like multi-hyphenated. What else can you bring to the table? What else can you do?
Yeah.
So there's nobody on my team that's like, oh, I just write, or oh, I just spit bars, oh, I just produce. Everybody knows how to do a variety of different things.
Yeah.
And so I feel like when you have that type of variety within your company, then you can look to different people to produce in a different way, but it's always a high standard. So yes, the beats had to be on point, but those lyrics had to match those beats 100%. Nothing could be lacking. So, all of my engineers, everybody that was mixing and mastering, everybody had to come with their A game. And then also because we're an independent label, you have so many other people. Like, I don't like to think of it as competition, but essentially you have other individuals you're, competing with.
Yeah.
So you just want to make sure that you're ready to go. And then I've received music placements for some of my other songs.
Yes,
like I have a couple of music placements, like on The Shy. So you want to make sure that music quality is like up to par, if not beyond.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad that you felt the album, and hopefully you can identify with some things in particular, because that's really what the goal is.
No, yeah, because like I said, after listening to that album, I started tapping in more, like I said, listening to more freestyles, like I said, because you drop a lot of freestyles. And I'm just like, what I love about your style is like, it reminds me of like Rhapsody, but it also has that hunger of like Pusha T. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because the way that you play around with your voice and everything.
Pusha T is one of my favorites.
No, I didn't know that.
I had an interview the other day and they were like, who would you like to work with? And I was like, I love Pusha T. Like,
so
you just made my day. Like, I'm done. I'm getting up. I'm out of here.
Because I'm a hip hop head as well. Like I said, like hip hop was my first love and everything. That's why I continue to write, why I continue to make music myself, right? And so like I understand like when I listen to like just like how people present themselves, right? And so when I was listening to like your flow and everything, it was again, it's the inflections and the way that you play with your voice with certain bars and certain, certain moments in it. And and I was like, I'm hearing Push in that. Like I'm hearing that when he gets into that, like in that, like when you get in your, like I'm hearing that when you get into your bag, especially on those freestyles. And I'm just like, like I said, it made me tap in more because your acting is so upper echelons, right? Whereas like it can always seem like, all right, acting is here. The music is probably, just maybe it's like it's a love, it's a hobby, but it's like nah, like it's like you can be fully just Robyn Hood and still be having as immense success as you are having, like you are with that acting, because the music is so good. And then what you said is 100% perfect. So a lot of the times with my music, I'll put it in playlists with other like, industry songs just to see how when that blend happens, when my song comes up, if do it sound local or do it sound like it fit, right? Exactly. So when I think about The Shy and like that placement, when your music comes on, I'm just like, hey, that's just a dope song. Like it fits. It doesn't sound like they just grab some local artist and anything. And I think that is you again putting that thought process into making sure that, hey, everything is up here because we're competing. We're not just indie. Even though we're indie, we don't look at ourselves as indie. We are competing.
Absolutely not. I mean, even when I started acting, the first agent that I was working with, I was about to get my headshots, and she's like, do you want to be a local actor or do you want to work everywhere? And I said, well, I want to work everywhere. And she's like, okay, so your headshot has to reflect that. Because coming out of Philly, there was a very sort of localized Philadelphia headshot. Everybody was kind of posing the same way. The quality of the photo was the same. So I ended up getting my photos done in New York so that it was like more across the board. Like, okay, she could work in LA, she could work in New York, she could work in Philadelphia if she wants to, but it's that same mentality. It's like nobody wants to just be on the block. You want to be able to be on everybody's block. You want everybody's block pumping you, and playing your music. So I'm smiling ear to ear because once you said to Pusha T, I'm just like, oh my God.
I love it.
The one thing that I absolutely love about the culture is that it's still embedded in Black culture.
White geeks still rock Dunks or Jordans, and they also talk about Batman versus Superman. Batman and versus Superman is literally Brown versus Jordan.
Dragon Ball Z, that like my whole trajectory and life changed. Don't nobody talk to me, my shit is on.
We just finna experience it. It look like it's gonna be real deep.
Oh my God, this is crazy!
The elevation from where King Vader started to now is fucking lit.
Black geek culture helped me through some of the highs of my life, through some of the lows of my life. It's always been there, sort of like an undercurrent to everything that I did.
There was no term for it. It was just, this is what I'm doing.
I love us in it. I love the fact that we take things and we always make it better.
In this hip hop conversation, then, because I wanted to ask, because the big conversation that happened over the past, 4 weeks was that, in the first time in 35 years, there hasn't been a song number one on the charts, right? Now, I did a little quick rant on my podcast where I was saying, I was like, when did hip hop start focusing, caring so much about the charts? I said, hip hop has always been an expression. It's always been about lyrics. It's always been about representation. And I was like, yes, it was dope that we had number ones on the charts, but that's never been what moved this culture. But it seems like, that's not the genuine consensus from everybody. But I wanted to get from another lyricist, what is your thought process? I mean, not thought, what is your thoughts about that? About hip hop not being number one, because I still feel like this year we got some amazing albums.
I mean, we have some amazing albums, some amazing lyricists, and I don't know. It's kind of like, I just want to hear quality music. I just want to hear quality music. I don't want to hear the same thing over and over and over again. Even the clips, like with their project, I'm just like, yo, these dudes, they're killing ageism. Like, it's not even about that anymore. And I don't think it ever really should have been about that. I think you have some really dope like lyricists, period. And I feel like the more mature you become, hopefully you're more well-rounded. You've seen, more. I have a lyric in one of my songs where I say, you say you've been around the world but took the hood off your Mac. It's like, so you out there now, and so you're not focused on the hood in any way, shape, or form. You're not giving back to your community,
right? And
so for me, it's just like, as long as we are feeding and fueling our communities and motivating and inspiring, really, I think that's what's most important. But charts, that equals dollars. It's just like, how many times is your album being downloaded? How many streams are you getting? And I think as we get more and more and more into stream culture, I think that's probably going to be a thing, So the theme for me will always be quality music, and that's with the lyrics. Obviously you want the beat to be like really great, because that's gonna, again, if you're moving to it, then okay, what's the lyrics? You're gonna want to, spit those bars,
right?
So it's interesting, because it's like, yeah, wow, in 35 years, like that's a long time, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Right.
What do you think?
So again, like I said, with me, because like I said, I took a couple of things. Like, one, like you said, with the beat, you got to have the beat, because as much as I love Nas, that joke has always been he picked bad beats. But then you see on that run that he did with Hit Boy and Nas, he's been giving us just amazing things. Then, like I said, we got the clips. JID to me is one of the best of the new class that is coming out. Like I said, Chance gave us an amazing album. Freddie Gibbs is getting his love right now. Like to me, I was like, this is one of the best years in hip hop. I don't care about the charts, because there's a lot of hip hop albums that I listen to. Like, you from Philly. So this is, I tell this to every Philly person I know. One of my favorite albums of all time, and it just so happened it came out right before another big thing eclipsed them, was Philly's Most Wanted, Get Down or Lay Down. I love that album front to back. Like, that is one of my favorite albums.
If we're gonna talk about Philly, then I gotta throw out The Reason.
Okay, of course, The Reason. Oh my God,
Beanie. Like, I literally used to live on Siegel Street. Okay, it was a tough block. Okay, so it was tough, and I mean, Feel It in the Air.
Feel It in the Air.
I'm quoting throughout, like, my very, very first mixtape. I could not quote Beans like constantly, because he just had so many like dope lines. Like, his bars were just like, oh my gosh, is anybody listening to this? Like, I can see why Hov was like that one,
and all the songs that him and Hov always did, it just felt like a sparring match, because like I say, he, like, that State Property album. Yeah. That first one. I mean, I like Chain Gang too, but that first one, and then Once Again It's On. Once Again It's On with Siegel and Jay. Oh my!
You drive me crazy right now.
That's what I'm saying. I Listen, I'm from Milwaukee, but like I love all of hip hop. I'm a hip hop head. You know what I'm saying? And so
Yeah.
like I listen, you couldn't tell me anything about Rockefeller. Rockefeller was upper echelons for me.
Right.
I would defend Rockefeller to this day.
Right.
Like I was heartbroken when they broke out. Like it hurt my heart. And
was
then
like, what?
but again, right now, Beanie Siegel right now is the poster child for the correct way to use AI because of with his voice issues and everything and how they're reconstructing it. I said that is because I'm anti AI, but if they're using it that way or like how they're doing or how they doing with James Earl Jones. So James Earl Jones, when he passed away, he's Darth Vader, but he licensed his voice to AI, and the residuals and everything goes to his family and his estate.
Yeah.
To me, awesome. Like I said, these are like long as you put some type of parameters and the right people get paid around it.
Right.
That's how I'm like.
There's a way to use it. There's a way to use it. And just going back to Beanie real quick, Jadakiss has always been one of my favorites as well. Jada, like
yeah.
And one of the things that you mentioned when you were speaking about my voice and like Pusha T, that's another thing. Like it's in that tone.
Yeah,
that's what grabs you. That's why people love DMX, or even Hove. It's like there was something about that raspiness. Like it just made you want to just feel what they were saying even more. So Jadakiss, hands down, they have a project.
Yes,
and Beanie. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like, I mean, I'm with you. We're not worried about the charts. We just want great music, great lyricism, dope MCs, like hands down. That's what we want.
And it's dope seeing Kiss and Siegel together because Quiet as Kept, to me, that's my second favorite rap beef of all time.
Yeah.
Because when you listen to them going back and forth, the one thing I said, one, they didn't get personal nasty like how nowadays is. It was really just, I'm a better rapper than you, or I'm more street than you. Let me tell you why. And they went at each other bars. And I said, like when Jadakiss pulled out the disco beat, I said, bro, you going crazy for even trying that. And it hit. And that's low key my second favorite like rap battle because it was just pure hip hop. It was, and then like I said, what I love about you Philly artists is that Philly artists always, it's clear to see their hunger, whether they're freestyling on the corner, whether they're battling, whether like we can see from like to me, everybody from Philly is always had a moment where they was like my top lyricists. Like Cassidy came out, he was one of my favorite. Meek Mill came out, he was one of my favorite. Reed Dollars, like I was tapped into all what y'all was doing.
You can't put on no Meek Mill right now, and everybody in the stadium, everybody in the club, the block, everybody's gonna go crazy.
Yeah,
everybody's gonna go. But like you said, the hunger, and I think just growing up in those Philly streets, like people used to always say to me, like, "Oh, if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere." And I used to joke about it, like, look, if you can make it in Philly, you can make it anywhere. But I understand what they were saying, of course, about New York, because it is that, pound the pavement. There's a lot of competition. But coming from Philly, I feel like that prepped me, for New York. It prepped me for being in LA because you're not necessarily thinking about competition. You're just thinking about, I have to come and be the best.
Yes.
When I was auditioning for Yale, there was a girl who, after I got in the program, there was a girl who was basically auditioning to come into the program. And she, would be like, so how do they go about selecting their students? Like, how many Black women, how many women, period, how many men? And I'm like, you don't need to be worried about any of that.
Right.
Don't worry about anybody else's spot. You just need to be worried about your spot. Okay. That's it. Get really focused, hone in on that. Unfortunately, she didn't get in the program, but I think it's because she was worried about too many things. Yeah. And when you have too many distractions, you're looking over here and wondering what they're doing. You can't really focus on what you need to do in order to accomplish the goal. So Meek Mill, when he went up to Power 99 FM, like he's like, this is my chance. Like, this is my opportunity. And I think it was like Rick Ross or somebody who was up there. And he's like, this is my opportunity. Like, I have to go and show up, show out, and do what I need to do.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Freeway getting that car, going up there. It's like you have these moments of people just like, I'm just gonna go crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That's
Like,
it.
it's dope. It's dope. So I mean, I like I said, I did want to, like, when you talk about Yale, and like I said, I just thought it was hilarious. It was just like being from Philly and going to Yale. That's like Uncle Phil's dream for Will Smith and Fresh Prince. He won.
I mean, I'm the Fresh Princess. It's real.
Right.
I mean,
Um,
it's real.
Now, in my research, also learned that you got some Shotokan skills, like you do,
Yes.
and and they haven't, like, I'm
Shodan.
surprised they
I
haven't
know.
had you tapped into that yet.
You said what now?
I'm surprised that, like, you haven't gotten a role to flex that yet.
That's coming. And, again, I had a previous interview and they're like, what do you want to do more of? And I said, I want to get even more physical.
Mm-hmm.
I did take Shotokan for several years and I'm trained in, stage combat. And I did a couple of years ago, I was in Three Musketeers and they wanted a female D'Artagnan. So I had multiple sword fights, like, I had this review that came out that said it was like when Wonder Woman came out, and they were like, "This is the real Wonder Woman."
Oh,
it was a
snap.
New York review.
Fire.
Yeah, it was really dope. I mean, I'm out there bang bang, I was doing my thing, and I had a blast doing it. So I'm trusting God, trusting on God by faith for more of those opportunities. But go on, give me what you got.
Because I'm a manifest. I manifest things, right? So there is a Black Wonder Woman.
No, I did not.
Yeah,
Now you
I forgot her name. So Wonder Woman, the race, the Mescarans,
Yes.
they're just full of warrior women, right? And there's the Black Wonder Woman named Nubia, right? Now you are already tall. You already have the skill set, and I'm pretty sure, like I said, they put you in that superhero workout that you can get the
I'm fit. I'm fit.
I know you fit.
Like, I'm getting on my bike right after this. Like,
listen here, we manifesting that right now. That when DC brings in Wonder Woman and they need a Nubia, boom, right here. We need you in that role.
No further. I am your Nubia. Let's
Nubia. And like I said, you know what I'm gonna do? Like I said, I'm gonna reach out to some of my people. I'm gonna get you some of those, like, just the comics about her. So you can
I'd appreciate that.
So you can read up on her, because again, I see the vision, because it's one of those things, especially with James Gunn doing his rework of the DC world. Like, we haven't got our Wonder Woman yet, but I know that when they do it, they're going to be more focused on the mascara, which is where she's from.
Yeah.
So that we gonna put that in there.
I love that. My reflexes are crazy. Like, I catch gnats in the air.
Okay.
Like,
yeah, that's some Bruce Lee stuff.
And that's actually how I started taking Shotokan. Like, I was watching Bruce Lee for the first time, like, just as a little kid, and I'm jumping off the chairs and the couches. And I told my dad, I'm like, Dad, I want to study karate. And so they put me in the YMCA and I started, training and everything. And I loved it then. I love it to this day. And it's just, my reflexes are really crazy. Like, if somebody threw like an orange or something, I'm like, bow, like, it's weird. Like, I don't know where that came from, but it's just something, like, if I was to drop a pencil or something, like, I'm able to grab it, like, really quickly. And it's not even something that I think about. It just kind of, like, happens. And
so you just naturally gifted.
You said what?
I said you just naturally gifted. That's what it is.
Well, thank you. I received that. But yes, it just naturally happens. So I know that there is a world in which I will be able to utilize that capability within my work. So I'm just like, yo, throw something at me. I dare you. Like,
I dare you. Like, that's the Philly in you. That's the Philly in you. Like, exactly. Like, I dare you. I'm gonna show you what I can do with this one.
Yeah, you want some? Just test me, please test me. And even, like, applying to Yale, like I said, I only auditioned for one school, and a lot of people would probably think that that's crazy, because they're like, oh no, you need to audition for at least 4 or 5: UCSD, NYU, Juilliard, Yale, just to throw out a few, but some of the top programs. But for me, it was like, no, I want to go to the best of the best, what I consider to be the best of the best. And if I can't get into that school, then I don't want to go. And praise God, it happened.
Yeah. So getting back to a little bit more about what you're acting, because you've worked with a lot of juggernauts just within different multiple platforms, whether it's voice acting, whether it's in acting. Who is there any actors that you haven't gotten a chance to work with that you would love to work with?
You know, so I was in this film called The Laundromat,
Mhm.
a Netflix film, and Meryl Streep was a
Oh,
part of that cast. I mean, Meryl's like the lead,
yeah.
and it's really lovely because the day that I was working on set, Meryl was like at the top of this like escalator, and she saw me working, and she came down, and she's like, "Wow, you're really good," and I was just like, "Who, me?" So I would love to kind of like go toe to toe, have
Mhm.
an opportunity like a Stacey Marks, Joseph Sikora, sort of a
Yeah,
thing. I mean, we can be friends. Like I don't have to be going against her or anything,
right.
but I would love to work directly with her. Even in that video game, Horizon,
Yeah.
Angela Bassett is also
Yes,
one
she
of the
is.
featured characters. Yeah. But I have not had the opportunity to work directly,
Oh,
with
okay.
her. So I want to work with the heavy hitters, like the people who really, make the people who inspired me to do what I'm doing right now. And
Okay.
so that would be a huge, honor to work with either one of those,
Mhm.
women. Love to do something with Denzel before he just completely stops.
Right, right.
Because he said he's wrapping it up. He's wrapping up. But I mean, there's so many really talented individuals out there. I don't want to leave anybody
Yeah,
out.
makes sense, yeah.
I mean, but those three in particular, it's like if somebody could say, "Hey, today,
Mhm.
who do you want to work with?" Because it's really about the wisdom. Like I need to get those gems. And yes, I could work with somebody my age or younger or something like that, but I don't necessarily know that I'll be fueled in the same way because, like you said, I'm a hard worker.
Mhm.
I go above and beyond. And so I really want to make sure that I'm keeping the ball in the air. And that's actually challenging to do with a lot of people because some people are just concerned about, my line, my line, my line. They're not really tapped into the listening
Right.
that has to occur, and so it's acting is reacting. So it's not all about, oh, I'm speaking, listen to what I have to say. It's more about like, what is that person, what did they say to me that's affecting me that's going to make me respond?
Right.
So, if it's not a heavy hitter, then
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, you also play like a lot of heavy roles though, like in general. Like in The Shy, like you said, you jumped into a season where
yeah,
it immediately was just drama, 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 drama. Like I said, every parent's worst nightmare, and you
yeah.
was more so
And a step
you
parent at that.
the step parent, so you had to be a crush to that. When you
Right.
play certain heavy roles like that, like one, how do you prepare, but also how do you decompress like from those heavy themes?
I believe in safe method acting. And so that's like a term that I've coined because I've just heard method acting.
Hmm.
But I think that you have to be able to walk into it safely and then walk out of it safely. Because I have my own life and I can't allow the characters or like what they're going through and
Right.
processing to affect like my own personal life. It just wouldn't be healthy.
Yeah.
So I mean, when it came to Dre, when I read the character initially, she was supposed to be older, and I said to my team, I'm like, I don't really know if I would be right for this because the character she's supposed to be a little older. But I came in, I did what I needed to do, and they were like, it's fine because we actually want somebody that's a little younger who can sort of balance out the age of the two like children. So
Right.
not somebody that was as young as they were, obviously,
Right.
but somebody who had more youthful energy and just kind of like that cool parent, it was kind
Yeah.
of like a good cop, bad cop, sort of a thing in the household. But because Dre had also kind of grew up, in the street, not necessarily
Yeah.
having like the support of her parents, them completely kind of looking down upon her because she was in the LGBTQ, community, and her grandparents also kind of feeling that way, towards her as well. It was just like, okay, she's had a lot of struggles that she's had to deal with as a young person. So how has she been able to progress, and move forward? So I got some braids in and braids that I wouldn't typically wear, but the breakdown said that she was a soft stud. So I'm like, okay, I think I can, play that off and be honest about it. So I didn't want to be stereotypical. I wasn't like, oh, I'm wearing, baggy jeans and
Yeah.
I want to boxers showing or anything like that. And not that there's anything wrong with that. I just wanted the world to be able to see something different, something that maybe was new, for some people, but that they could still identify with and be like, oh wow, she's really real. She's really dropped in, to the point where people were just thinking like me as Miriam, like I'm just Dre. And I'm like, no, Dre's
I
very
ain't gonna hold you. You did it so well that like I was like it did seem. Remember, I thought you was from Chicago. That's what.
Everybody thought I was from Chicago, but then this is the beauty of versatility, because then you hit them with a Stacey Marks.
Yep.
And a lot of people don't even know to this day. They don't know that I'm both.
Oh man,
Like,
when you popped up on Force, I was like, hey, and I was like, oh, this is a completely different character. Like,
exactly. And people are like, well, why does she have braids anymore? And I'm like, come on, bro. Like, she's in. You have to think about it again. How many Black women do we know that are U.S. attorneys that are walking around with braids, any kind of braids?
Right.
This is not her private practice. Like, she's serving the country in a different way. It's not like Reasonable Doubt, where that actress has her own, like she's opening up her own firm and she's working for a private firm. It's not like that. So with this, she has to play by certain rules. She has to do things in the way that they would like for her to do, not necessarily the way that she would like for, to go about things. And even that, I mean, it was a conversation in terms of like hair. It wasn't, the short haircut was not my idea. And, they had some pushback, of course, from me, because I'm like, well, she's a Black woman. Like, can she have different hairstyles? Because Black women, we change up our hair.
Absolutely.
And even with Dre, I always had different braids. Like, I had an amazing braider in Chicago. And so she would always just do really cool styles on me. It was always a conversation. I'm like, oh, I want stars, this week, or next week I want hearts, like switch it up. But that's who she was. Yeah. So that's who Dre was, living in that particular world. And then Stacey Marks is living in a totally different world and has to go about things in a very specific way. Yeah. So I love for the fans to just sort of respect and support that, like support the fact that, wow, you are able to shift in such a believable way that people come up to me and they're like, we love you as Dre, but I can't stand you as Stacey Marks. But we love Dre. And that's just a testament to my work. I'm fully committed to do both, and for other characters that I played as well. I want you to, fall in love, with that particular person, or, hey, if you're going to have to Danny Glover me, like, The Color Purple, it was that sort of a thing. I'm like, dang, why they treat me like this?
But you know what I love about your portrayal of Dre is that, one, like I said, exactly what you said. Dre is from the Chi, you know what I'm saying? So like, and she grew up in the streets, and Dre always, like, the way you portrayed Dre was somebody who was a little bit younger, but that wisdom was there because of what they went through, right? So like, when every time Dre had to talk to the kids, or, just even in general had to, give her perspective or anything, you commanded the intention, but in a respectful way. But then also, like you said, with how Dre carried herself, it wasn't stereotypical. Like, to me, what I loved about the Chi and even that relationship is that her being part of the LGBTQ community wasn't the character trait of the character. Like, oftentimes you'll see that's the main part about the character. No, like, we was invested in Dre just because we was like, okay, what has Dre been through? What is Dre going to say on this? How is Dre going to, like, how is Dre going to handle, these kids who, obviously they're going through their growing pains, they're going through all their trauma. How is Dre going to help parent this? And just like, to me, that was just a part of the character, but not that wasn't what was forefronted. And
I mean, that's a testament to Lena Waithe and the writers and everything. I mean, whatever you give me, whatever's on the paper, I have to make it jump off. Right. And so I'm always going to bring something to the table. So even if they just say, okay, this is what we have, I'm going to say, oh, okay, that's great. How about we tweak it a little bit this way? Or how about we add this or add that? So it's just a blessing that you're saying that, because you and so many other people responded, to that character in such a positive way that it wasn't like, oh, I can't identify with her. She's so much in the box. Like she's so stereotypical. It wasn't like that at all. It was like Dre is for the people, you
Dre is for
know.
the
And
people.
when she did deal with the kids and everything, it was like she had words of wisdom, but she wasn't coming from that like parental, you know, sort of judgmental like stance. It wasn't about that. It was like, look, I already know what this is, you know, but at the same time, I'm trying to understand and respect what your, you know, your just your existence and how things, you know, are different for you and how, you know, you're trying to go about life and so on and so forth. And what can I offer you that's going to help raise you up? Because it's also about what she didn't receive growing up.
Yeah.
And so how can I offer that, you know, to these other individuals? So I mean, I love Dre, like hands down. One of my favorites to this day.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I'm gonna let my fandom come in a little bit because
come on, bring it in.
I didn't like the turmoil. I needed y'all to stick through. I get it, you know, it happens in life and everything like that. But I was just like, come on, let us have this union. I did not like the turmoil. Yeah. I listened to Brat came in. I said, get out of here, Brat. Like I did not. I love you, the Brat, but no, I did not want any of this.
I was about to bring Robyn Hood in. Robyn Hood versus the Brat. Yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of people felt that way. But I'm so grateful for the opportunity and the time. You know, I came in, I was originally only like contracted for 5 episodes and I did 32.
That's like the story of your career. It's like, just get you in the room. You're like, you know what? I don't care. It says 3. It says 3 lines on this page, but y'all gonna want me for more.
You gonna get 33, okay? Like I'm right. You gonna trust me. You gonna want me in the room. But yeah, even that's really a blessing because I think people, you know, like right now when we audition for a lot of different things, we're not in the room in the same way that we kind of used to be like prior to COVID. And for me, it's like it's such an awesome advantage when you're in the room, you know, with a casting director, like they can feel you in a different way. And we don't get a chance to do these necessarily. Like I'm not just talking to you about life, you know, we're just chopping it up and it's like, oh, I really like this brother. Like I'm feeling his energy. It's not like that. You go in the room, you're there for like a few minutes and then you head out. But that to me was so much better than doing a self-tape and they don't get a chance. They're trying to fill you through like this lens, you know. So, you know, it is what it is. We will prevail, but at the same time, it's like I really do look forward to getting back in the room with those casting directors. But oh yeah, you get me in that room. Oh, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
I'm not coming out the room.
I'm leaving here with something.
I'm leaving with something. Absolutely.
All right, I got 2 fun. We're gonna get into some fun questions, and I'll get you out of here.
Okay, cool.
So I need to know musically. Like I said, I know we talked about Push, and I know everything like that. But top 5 influences for you musically.
Well, yeah, Pusha T, Jadakiss, of course. I love Beanie. You know, I really, really was rocking with early kind of like Nicki Minaj. I feel like her lyricism is amazing. Like the way that she just phrases things, you know, is really dope. And I'll throw in a Queen Latifah, you know, on top of that, because again, there's just that wisdom, that knowledge, that positivity that I feel like we can still gain from that I really think is lacking within the culture. And it's so much about, you know, a lot about drugs and alcohol and just partying and having fun. And I think that that's a part of growing up. I think that that's a part of life, but there's so much more to life. And I feel like we need to be able to offer just a more well-rounded scope. You know, I rock with, you know, NBA Youngboy. Like he has a lot of things that he has to say, you know, as do, you know, a Cardi B or, you know, somebody like everybody has something to say. It's just, what are we really saying and how are we really fueling people? You know, are we fueling them in a positive way so they go out here and they do something with themselves, or are they going out here and just kind of, you know, being menaces to society?
Right. I often tell people, like I said, you know, shout out to Charlamagne the God because he's the one that said it, but you got to have a balance of righteousness and ratchetness.
You got to have Absolutely.
Like you got to have that balance, right? Because like I said, like I said, when I'm in the car, I may be bumping Dolph, I may be bumping Moneybag Yo and everything like that. But also I have those moments where I'm bumping Earth Gang, JID. I'm going back to Old Kiss and B and Jid, and so it's like it's one of those things. But again, like you said, it's your youth.
And throw Kendrick in there too, because I feel like again, it's like ratchet, righteous, like having that balance and everything. And I'm a Libra, so I'm constantly trying to like establish, like find balance.
Yeah.
And sometimes we can lean too much this way or lean too much that way. So if we just, try to be as even kilter, like as possible, it's just like, oh, okay, that helps you go through life, because too much of anything is not good for you, right?
Right.
So you want to make sure that you are having that balance, so that like a Dre, you're like, okay, well, I understand. But maybe we should try this, or I get that, but you know what, maybe this might be a little bit more helpful in this particular situation.
Right.
So it's just like that well-roundedness that really, I feel like helps us to, propel and being able to like, pivot and just, as we like to say at Yale, change with the changes.
Oh, okay. I like that. Yeah. All right. So, this question I like to ask to actors and actresses who have multiple characters, right?
Yeah.
If you had to put together a buddy cop movie with two characters that you played, which two characters are you pulling for a buddy cop?
Hello, Dre and Stacy. I mean, that's easy.
Them two.
That's easy. Could you imagine?
That'd be crazy. Yeah.
I mean, they could be twins. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, I could play both. I'm about to do my whole little Eddie Murphy thing and go back.
Right.
But something like that, I think, could be dope, because again, there's two totally different perspectives, and they both grew up in Chicago. And you're gonna find out more why Stacy
is how she is,
moves the way that she moves, as the story continues to unfold. And it's like one of those Dre moments of being like, oh, okay, now I get it. I see I see her in a different light because of what she's encountered, like what she's been through. So I know even for me, when I was reading the script, I was like, I mean, I always loved Stacy from the gate. You know what I mean? Like, I've always been a Stacy fan.
But
just understanding her story more and more, I just was like, okay, I get that. Like, I can see why she goes so hard.
All right. So last question, and this is our Geekset hypothetical.
Okay.
Zombie apocalypse, alien apocalypse, or robot apocalypse. Which one do you believe that you can survive the longest?
Probably robot.
Robot?
Yeah, because I don't mess with no zombies. After working on The Walking Dead, like in that video game, it was treacherous. I said, oh, hell no. I don't want no zombie coming from my neck. So, yeah, I probably would. Because robots, I feel like, you could just dismantle a robot.
True. But I always say, though, but what if it's the Terminator robot? Because them robots, I don't know.
But even the Terminator, you can still take them down. It just, I mean, throw some water on them, like something, like you can do something. But a zombie, I mean, I'm thinking about it right now.
So getting the heebie-jeebies now.
Heebie-jeebies. Absolutely. Yeah, robot. Absolutely. Hands down, robot.
All right, so with you, because before we end, I want to like one for the people watching and listening. Where do you need them to support you at? Like, what is your current initiative that you need people to check out?
Definitely The Force, Powerbook for Force, Thursday nights, going into Friday, we air. Definitely tap in. Really great season. And of course, tap into the label, Truth Teller Productions. There's constant music from myself and other artists that are coming out on the label, and we're always taking in, new talent and everything. So I always say, be on the lookout for those gems that we're going to be dropping, because, they're coming. So Powerbook for Force right now, Truth Teller Productions.
Awesome. Well, I wanted to tell you again one more time, like I said, from me, from my podcast, from the culture, from Blurred Culture, from Hip-Hop Culture, from Film Culture, thank you so much. Thank you for this conversation. It has been amazing. And I just want to say we'll continue to support everything that you got going on, and we'll continue to tap in with you, okay?
Likewise, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. This was amazing.
No doubt. And as always, this is the only podcast that blend hip-hop culture and geek culture together. I have been your boy Deuces. This has been the amazing Robyn Hood, aka Miriam A. Hyman, and we are out. Please.
Peace.
I mean, what the fuck we talking about here? Fridays, we are talking a brand new show, bringing you hilarious commentary about black characters.
Like Goofy and the whole gang, we all know that black. They been niggas. You know what I'm saying? P black. He Uncle Ruckus. He Uncle Ruckus as a yeah, P black as a
cartoon intro.
Dark Queen Duck. Dog, oh, nobody gonna join in? I hate all y'all niggas. You gotta have real niggas around us.
Anime drip.
Throw me in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. What I'm talking about? I want to be able to have my pose. Just I want to throw it in there.
Game nights.
I feel like Twister is gonna get people in some positions that they don't need to be on. That's an HR nightmare. It's a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Video games.
It would have to be a 2K. Hey, sometimes 2K be cheating, man.
And more. Brought to you by Geekset, featuring Deuces, Bacardi, Didge,
And
Trippy, and King. Tune in Fridays only on YouTube. I mean, what the fuck we talking about here?